Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Pathfinder, Lord of Nothing. As today, with our giant problem reduced, we finally have a chance to catch our breath and collect ourselves. We've got a fair bit of bookkeeping ahead of us, plus some potential downtime back at the Defender's Heart. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll lead with the level ups, get those taken care of. Then we'll just sort of play it by ear from there. And yeah, as far as the level ups go, we're just really kind of making it up at this point. I do recall my long-term plans for Grim fell by the wayside once I'd realized I had misread one of our bonus feat slots. That aside, general consensus is also that we'll probably cap at about level 11 in this DLC, so yeah, no real point in trying to plan too much farther ahead. We'll just grab what seems useful. And I mean, a lot of it is just bumping primary attributes and primary skills, so I mean, that's not exactly rocket surgery. Ooh, this though. This is an actual choice, and I'm thinking we'll go with Abundant Step. That's a good one to have in our pocket for emergencies. Oh, and then, as it says here, we also pick up Stunning Fist Sicken, which, sadly, I don't really see us getting much use out of. I want to say the vast majority of enemies we've encountered thus far are either very fortitude heavy, or just outright immune to being sickened in the first place. As for our new shard, no real question there. We're going right for Crystal Claws, which adds a nice little bleed and cold damage chaser to our unarmed strikes. Not exactly a game changer, but we'll take it. And then, of course, we also pull the usual chasers. Cursed Energy Resistance, which grants some minor resistances. And Ominous Appearance, which is a slight hit to our Persuasion skill. Unfortunate, but, I mean, really, as far as Ominous Appearances go, I feel like that ship may have already sailed. It just kind of goes part and parcel with being an Oread. That aside, we have plenty of backup talkers. Speaking of whom, Penta's up next, and she picks up Storm Call, the bardic equivalent of Call Lightning. Beyond that, we do get to round her intelligence up to 20. Very nice. Then we bump up her usual skills, but the intelligence bump also gives us some extra points to play with, which I'm thinking we'll slap into Trickery, because I do recall there being an issue where Reckert sat out one segment of our adventure, leaving us completely unable to even attempt to pick locks. Also, I'm just realizing Penta apparently does not have Persuasion. I guess I kind of assumed she did because she's a bard, but right. Her primary is Intelligence, not Charisma. So I guess Sindri's our main backup then. As for spells, plenty of good options, though I will say there is some temptation to go for some of the new bardic spells they've added since last time I played. But I do feel like they're a bit too fiddly, at least for the benefits they offer. So we'll keep it simple, we'll just go for Good Hope. That's just a nice solid buff to have in our back pocket. Short duration, but good for those fights where we really need a quick boost. And that's it for Penta. Next up, we've got Record of Note. Sadly, no new sneak attack die, but we do get a new rogue talent, as well as improved uncanny dodge. And we get to round his dex to 20. Skills are skills, nothing really notable there. So really, the talent is the one important choice we're making this level up. And none of the normal rogue talents really caught my eye, so I'm thinking we'll just go Combat Trick, Many Shot, an extra shot per round, no notable downside. Sounds good to me. Which brings us to Sentry, who I guess is now our primary talker. He gets access to 4th level spells, very nice. And sadly does not round his charisma to an even number, but we'll bump it up anyway. And, right, he only gets 2 skill points per level, so I guess both of those will go right into Persuasion. Not much, but it'll put him 2 points up on Grim. We get a new spell, and, again, plenty of really interesting options here. Though, ultimately, I had to remind myself that we built him as a Conjuration Specialist, which I don't think is what they really intended for him, but it's what I went with. So I guess we'll just keep leaning into that, and we'll go ahead and grab Acid Pit, a nice crowd control spell. Though actually, now that I'm looking at it, that acid damage is pretty trivial. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and make a gut call here and go for Dimension Door instead. You know, much like with Grim, it's just a good spell to have in your back pocket for those emergency situations. That aside, to be perfectly honest, we're more likely to use those 4th level slots for selective 3rd level spells. After that, we've got Sir Brown, who is actually about to get benched, at least temporarily. But he does get a +1 to his Sacred Weapon. Nothing really notable we can do with his attribute point, so we'll just dump it in Wisdom, why not? Skills are skills. And that's pretty much it for him. Then Kanos, who picks up Communal Aspect of the Falcon. Interesting, but not one we're apt to use. Once again, Odd Point just goes into Wisdom, no big deal. Skills are skills. And that's it for him, though he does get extra slots, but we'll worry about that later. And Gaia, who I want to say has gone through some weird changes. They revised Animal Companions at some point, but let's see. Con goes up to 20. That's pretty good. Skills are skills. Nothing notable there. Ah, yes, there we go. The new animal abilities. Which, for Gaia, I think is just a plus, because she picks up Scent, which is equivalent to Blind Sense. That'll be handy for invisible or otherwise visually obscured foes. And then also 2 ranks of Teardown, which is pretty nice. +4 versus prone targets. I have heard that Kaz might be nerfed pretty hard over in Wrath, though. Which is sad, but, you know, it happens. I'll give that a peek later. That's it. Level up complete. Let's push on, see what comes next. I'm assuming we're headed back to the Defender's Heart, but I've never actually played past this point, so I guess we're about to find out. Thank you. You have restored our tribe's freedom and saved many lives. Take this as a token of our gratitude. Hey, thanks. You guys didn't have to stick around. But I do appreciate it. We have the shard. Now we can open the portal. Neat. And what did we just get? Amulet of Nature's Summons. Amulet of Natural Armor +3. And summon a Sacred Stag once per day. Lovely. Grim can already cast Barkskin, so kind of redundant on him. And thematically, it would make sense on Kanos, but again, I suppose he can also cast Barkskin, which I think is, yeah, exactly the same. Could give it to Gaia. Though, I mean, it's not like Kanos wouldn't slap Barkskin on her, too. So I suppose we'll toss it to Sentry, since he is essentially our de facto summoner. Why not? Still have to decide what to do with the rest of this stuff, too, but we'll worry about that once we're somewhere safe. Though, before we pop back through this portal, Oh, okay. I think we're up on the raised platforms we first came in on. That's fun. I want to say we were pretty thorough up here before, but give me a sec. I'll do a quick re-canvas just in case there's... Oh, yeah, see, like that.
I managed.
Yeah, let me re-canvas these pads real quick just in case there's anything else we missed. Yes, turns out there was exactly one thing. This secret pile of rubble. Which, granted, doesn't really contain much, but we'll take it. That's, I don't know, like 42 gold? Look, it all adds up. That said, I think we are well and truly done here now, so... into yonder portal we go. Once we get back to the tavern, I'll pause for bookkeeping. Plus, I want to cycle our non-story companions at the end of each segment. You know, just so they all get screen time. Penta did make things a mite bit awkward there with her forced recruitment. Ugh, after these awful smelly caves, it's wonderful to see snow. It's unsettling here, too, but at least the air's fresh. I don't share your joy. After 7 decades encased in ice, this freshness doesn't cheer me up too much. Yeah, it might not smell as bad here, but there are fragments of bone everywhere, and even the wind seems to be whispering filth. Let's go to the tavern. Sounds like a plan. Seems like we could all use some rest. Though, tell me, any thoughts on how things turned out back there? With the tribe and the giants? You think we did the right thing? Of course we did. Did you see how thin and emaciated they all were? Even with the help of their ancestors, they would have had a hard time fighting the giants. And so they broke free and avoided unnecessary casualties. Sociological background. For many Kelid tribes, honor is no less important than life. They walked away from the giants alive. But how will they carry on with their lives, knowing that their kin remain unavenged? I mean, they stuck around until we were done. I'm pretty sure they know exactly how things turned out back at the giant camp. I think their kin are about as avenged as they're ever going to get. They'll manage. Wounded pride is nowhere near as dangerous as spilled guts. You think they'll survive out there? I mean, they were captured by the giants. How did we manage to get captured by the cultists in that theater? Escaping from captivity is hard, but ending up there is easy as pie. I can confirm. When faced with violent coercion, even the smartest, most charming, and talented individuals quickly realize that they have no choice but to obey. Are you talking about yourself? Your request for clarification has been rejected. Figure it out yourself. Yeah, you know what? I'm starting to see why she has 0 ranks in persuasion. All right, people. Let's get back to the tavern. Find Sithud's soul shard in the wizard's lair. Well, that's new. I guess that's our next stop. Oh, wait, no. Okay, that's to the wizard's lair. There's our tavern portal. Also, the bodies of humanoids who froze to death lie in the puddle of melt water. How did we miss this before? Unless it's new. Expedition boots. Plus 10 competence bonus on athletics, plus 5 on mobility. Yeah, see, like that would have been really useful to have before we went into the hill giant area. Since we had all those solo checks we had to make. Flamboyant hat. Plus 2 enhancement bonus to charisma. 2 extra rounds of bardic performance per day. Which leans me towards wanting to give it to Penta, but she doesn't use charisma. Also, I don't want to say all gnomes look the same, but that's definitely Sendry there, right? Expedition boots seem like a no-brainer. That's probably going to Grim. He's our athletics main. Not sure about the hat, though. Oh yeah, forgot about you. Stalmer. Welcome back. I believed in you. I hope your encounter with the giants has not yet broken your spirit. No, we're fine, thanks. I guess just keep on waiting in the wings? Actually, now I'm wondering if there's other new stuff out here. Like that. Why would we not have grabbed that if it was clearly marked on our map? Something pinged. What am I missing? Oh! Huh. Okay, we've got a broken corpse. How do we get down there? Considering we're about to rest anyway, you know what? We'll use our abundant new ability. Ooh. Lore object, nice. Also a very familiar looking pendant. I want to say that's something we saw in the main campaign. Plus a scroll of Mass Dimension Door. That's a nice bonus as well. Guardian of Life. As long as the wearer of this amulet is under the effects of Death Ward, they gain plus 2 morale to AC, but only against undead. If they use any single target cure wound spell on a creature... Okay, well that's way too complicated. I don't think we even have anyone with Death Ward regardless, so... Well, I mean, if that second part is usable separate from the first part, it might still come in handy. I'll think on that one. It's just such an overly fiddly item. Right off the bat, it just kind of makes me not want to use it. Let's check out that lore item. The ice-coated page. The page seems to have been torn with the sharp end of a quill, rendering part of the text illegible. I've survived the fall of my master, wandering in the icy wastes, hunger, persecution, fights with my former comrades. All to slip and fall onto this damned ledge. If these notes are found by true servants of the Frozen Lord, look for the supplies I have hidden. The spot is marked by the symbol of Sithhood. Ooh, you don't say. Is that something we've already found, or is there yet another cache out here for us to unearth? We do still have some weird scenery, like this guy over here. You know what? Hold on. Give me a sec to retread. And look at that. Cold, hard cash. Right near the symbol of Sithhood. As advertised. Let's see what we got.
I managed.
Frost Whale. Also an Achievo. Fantastic. +2 Frost Light Crossbow. On crit, the enemy becomes slowed as per slow spell for 1d6 + 1 rounds. DC 19 Fortitude save reduces duration to 1. Well, that's not bad at all. That might be a good fit for Penta. Good find. Well worth our time. Oh, and it was here for those who are curious. Nothing else of note along the paths, at least not that we hadn't already found. And yeah, I think Penta's definitely our best bet for that crossbow. That said, let's get back to the Defender's Heart. Be right back. And we're back. Vendor trash sold, inventory managed, new gear equipped. And would you look at that? We've actually got some changes here. Apparently, story-wise, they're celebrating the liberation of Dresden, which puts us into Act 3 of the main campaign, I think? Our companions are also all feeling a mite bit chatty, but we'll get to that momentarily. Let's go ahead and knock out the last of our bookkeeping. Because aside from just getting some rest and topping off all our slots, our 7th, Aiden Dakari, has been waiting very patiently for our return. Let's get him caught up with the rest of the party. He'll be coming off the bench for the wizard lair. And we'll keep it simple. We'll just go ahead and grab Weapon Focus Kinetic Blast. Something we're pretty much guaranteed to get some use out of. And we'll double up on Earth, which should unlock a new specialization. I think that's how it works. Yes. Aiden's gone from a simple earthbender to a full-on metal bender. Though, I'm not sure he can actually take advantage of that since it requires burn, and I think our archetype might actually prevent that. Kineticists still confuse me. New ability point, we'll round out Dex. And Wild Talent, which we'll go ahead and toss into Greater Trip. Since, as I recall, one of his main shticks is knock back or knock down with his hurled projectiles. Oh, actually, okay. Maybe we can use burn. At least in moderation. I'll figure it out. And I mean, really, at the end of the day, he's just hitting things with rocks. Aside from that, pretty much all our loose cash went into a Lockpicker's Kit 3. And then as for the rest of the gear we did keep, hat and crossbow went to Penta. Some basic gear to Aiden, just to get him up to snuff. Mithril chain shirt for Record. Plus that new amulet on Sentry. Oh, and the belt. The belt's temporarily gone to Gaia. That's it. Let's get some rest. And then yeah, we'll likely just end up talking to our allies. As aforementioned, it does seem they're very, very chatty all of a sudden. Right, camp screen. Not much we can do here. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do up a meal. Why not? We don't have any fancy pants recipes, but we can at least enjoy a +1 on saves. I first came to the Abyss during the Second Crusade. Now we are in the middle of the 5th. According to my calculations, It would take at least 25 more to stop the demons for good. Oh, I'm sure it won't take that long. I hear the new crusade leader's actually pretty great. I'm sure I'll get it sorted. You know, unless he gets betrayed and stranded in the abyss or something. But what are the odds of that happening? Given his successes thus far, I'm sure Mendev is giving him their full support. The android turns her perfectly smooth, almost doll-like face to you. Her lips are curved in a motionless smile. The gaze of her cold, unblinking eyes makes you uncomfortable momentarily. But suddenly, Penta laughs in a completely human manner. Did I scare you? I think that look is my masterpiece. Up to 60% of those I have subjected it to displayed shivers, goosebumps, and/or hiccups. 4% ran away screaming. There have not yet been any heart attacks, but I will keep improving. Cool. Always good to have hobbies. So, Penta, I know you only just joined us, but any thoughts on our journeys thus far? An absolutely reckless venture, with minimal chances of survival. Just how I like it. It's impossible to tell by looking at her face, if she's being sarcastic or not. Sorry, I'm not, That was a joke, right? Yes. Ah, good. Knew it. Otherwise, I might have asked why you'd come with us in the first place. If you really thought our chances of success were that low. Curiosity. I came to that region of the abyss to study it. I see no reason to abandon that goal. Besides that, there is another rather important factor. Penta smiles. My new team is far from perfect, but significantly better than my old one. In all fairness, you really should know, there's every chance in the world that this will end badly. Sentry, Record, the rest of us, we're all locked into this thing, but you don't have to be. If you did want to leave, I wouldn't hold it against you. It's a question of priorities. Your logic is sound, so long as we posit that life's duration is of more value than its richness. In my case, however, that is reversed. A long, boring life scares me more than a short but eventful one. Right. So tell me, joking aside, do you think we're actually going to fail? Not at all. There exists a colossal difference between a small chance and no chance. It's entirely reasonable to face risk, even great risk, if success promises a proportionally great reward. Right. Well, thanks, Penta. It's nice to get a chance to chat when we're not, literally wading through filth. You are welcome. Social interaction brings me pleasure. Oh, glad to hear it. Yeah, I do have a bit of a reputation for getting rocks off. I immediately regret saying that. So you're like a robot or something, right? Some sort of android? Don't think I've ever met one of your kind before. Yes. What would you like to know? Well, where are you from? You said Numeria, right? Yes, from Numeria. Memories of my earlier life are lost, but it is not hard to guess that, like every other android on Golarion, I was created from surviving systems of a crashed starship somewhere in the region. I was originally intended for music, verse, and classical literature. That is the origin of my full name, Pentatonica. The Technic League's agents found me and used me for other tasks. Penta's face freezes, her synthetic voice sounding scarily emotionless. After a short silence, she adds, Bastards. Right. They took control of you somehow. Androids are some sort of fancy constructs? Caveat. The fact that I am an android does not make me a specialist on androids. Sadly, I did not come with an instruction manual. I can only tell you what is common knowledge. Androids are a synthetic life form brought to Galarion by a starship. We are not entirely constructs, and not entirely organic creatures, but we share with them a lot of important characteristics. The existence of android souls has been incontrovertibly proven.
Penta thinks for a moment, as if trying to remember something more, then shrugs.
In summary, it seems we are people.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a pile of rocks. I guess it is all relative. Is this how all androids talk?
This manner of speaking was optimal in the conditions of my forced servitude. The agents of the Technic League considered me an object. Through trial and error, I determined that trying to convince them of my humanity was a losing strategy. So I chose a different approach, one based on the manipulation of their prejudices.
Penta looks you in the eyes.
Plainly, if you want to survive in servitude, learn to play dumb. Beep beep, bastards. I am a robot. My head is but nuts and bolts, and that means you cannot ask much of me.
Oh, interesting. You know, I did think it was a bit weird that when she did have voiced lines, they kind of flip-flopped back and forth between this over-exaggerated robot intonation and just talking like a normal person. Didn't expect there to be an actual story reason for it.
I realize that to free people, this may seem strange, perhaps even unjustifiably rude. Trust me, it is not aggression but a defense mechanism. It will take time for me to adjust to freedom.
Penta smiles, sadly. A fully human expression. No, I get it. I'm glad you explained. So tell me, how did you end up trapped in that ice?
The Technic League's might revolves around endless accumulation. They gather secrets, weapons, magical items, rare spells, forgotten recipes, anything that can give them more power. They used me in this search. It would be a lie to say that I did not enjoy these expeditions. That said, the enjoyment was of course dampened by the fact that nobody asked me whether I wanted to participate to begin with. The aim of our venture was something called Sithud's Legacy. These words did not mean anything to me, nor to any other member of the squad. Only the expedition's organizer seemed to know where and why we were headed. And when we arrived, it quickly became clear that he did not know much either.
Penta spreads her hands.
The expedition turned out to be short. From the portal to the first meeting with an enormous ice-covered Nelfeshni, which turned us into ice cream in an infinitesimal amount of time. Thankfully, I survived that state. Thankfully, the rest of the squad did not. I hope that our attempt will be more successful.
Right, yeah, we did glimpse a Nelfeshni when we first arrived, I think. Thanks again, Penta. I appreciate the answers.
Ask away. I don't have many secrets, and very few of them are particularly scary.
Well, how about this one? Any thoughts on our colorful crew?
I think we're doing pretty well so far. At the very least, we are still alive. Or did you want to know my opinion on someone specific?
Sure, why not? I wouldn't mind getting something on the record.
Serious and responsible at a glance, yet his eyes are like a lost puppy's, waiting for someone to adopt him. It is amusing that he considers himself a lone wolf, when there is nothing more important to him than someone's praise. Bandits, Technic League included, turn people like him into cutthroats. He wound up with the Paladins, and they made him a hero instead. Will he one day decide what he should be for himself? The probability is low. He is resisting the Shard's influence well,
but it is noticeable that he does so with great effort. Recommendation: do not give him too many shards. It is logical to limit the pressure on his soul and psyche.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. We'll try to spread them out. How about Sentry?
He is a good kid. In the Technic League, it is rare to see someone who seeks adventure, not for riches and power, but out of curiosity and altruism. Part idiot, part hero, part adventurer. There is a fairly high probability that his current escapade will get us all killed. Or save us from death, if we get lucky. He believes that the shards have no power over him, but he is wrong. I see that Sentry struggles to resist the influence of the Abyss. Give him too many shards, and he won't even notice himself breaking. Recommendation: do not give him too many shards.
Right. Technically, he's already got one. That's what started this whole thing. Dare I ask what you think of me?
Our squad would not have lasted long without you. At the very least, not as a squad capable of getting somewhere, overcoming someone, and achieving something. That said, nobody designated you as leader. You do not command, and you do not threaten. It seems to me that Record and Sentry do not even understand who makes the key decisions. But I do. That is worthy of respect. You are handling the effect the shards have on your mind quite well. For now, I have some unsolicited advice for you. If we find more of them, don't take them. Magical powers are useful, but only so long as you control them, and not the other way around.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. As if I had much choice, right? And thank you again, Penta. Gotta say, this has actually been very enlightening.
I hope this will allow us to better understand each other.
You know what? I think it actually will. Well, I'll let you get back to it. We're heading out soon.
That is true. We still have much to do.
Ain't that the truth? Speaking of which, look who it is. We've lost an eye, but we've traded up to a Langrat Massini. I mean, no offense to an eye, of course. She's just a bit of a bummer. What's up, bud? On the stage, a familiar musician is performing. Oblivious to everything around him, he's drawing his bow over the strings of his fiddle, to the delight of the dancing crowd. Finally, the dance comes to an end. Langrat stops to rest and notices you. My friend! My savior! Is it really you? Words cannot express how happy I am to see you. Likewise, my friend. And I must say, you're looking much improved since last we met. Of course. I was a prisoner of evil forces then, each moment fearing a bloody fate. But now I am once again a free citizen of a free city. Lack of money notwithstanding. Back then, I thought we were all doomed to become victims of demons. Yet today we are celebrating a victory. Haven't you heard? The Crusaders have taken Dresden. Yeah, I heard about it on my way in. Funny, I came all this way to join the Crusade, but it seems like it's getting on just fine without me. That new commander of theirs must be truly impressive. How fares the city? How about your theater? The theater is closed for renovation. The city authorities, of course, understand how important art is in maintaining the morale of the public. However, maintaining their bodies takes precedence. In war-torn Canabris, many have lost their homes. and until the city has helped its citizens rebuild those homes, art must remain homeless. Well, that's a laudable attitude to have. You're a good man, Langrat. It truly was good to see you. I'd stay in chat longer, but you know how it is. Rolling stones and all. I'll let you get back to it. Of course, and I must continue my performance. I hope to see you again. A shame that I have nothing to thank you with. Nothing but this melody. Langrat runs the bow over the strings. He has outdone himself this time. His music fills you with determination and the will to win. +1 insight on attack and damage. We will absolutely take that. Oh, Langrat, buddy. Always a pleasure. No other new faces. We've already talked to Gemmel and Venrad and Sister Charisma over there. So let's chat up Record and Sentry. Then I think we'll be at a good place to call it. Hey, grunts Record without looking up. He is painstakingly cleaning a burnt-out old pipe, scraping off the black soot stuck to it. A sudden movement and the pipe cracks with a crunch. Grinding his teeth, he flings it to the floor. Damn it all! Everything's falling apart. Either we're cursed by the gods or just naturally unlucky. Record rubs his bristly chin with exasperation. All right, let's keep it together. We're in way over our heads, yeah, but we'll get through this. Somehow. You do seem like you're putting yourself under a lot of pressure, Record. This expedition's really getting to you. Not much of an expedition. That's too good a word for this mess. Record shrugs. We got pulled into an ugly story. It'll be a miracle if we make it out alive. What else is there to say? You don't think we'll make it? Well, what I believe, that's my business. Beliefs don't win fights. This does. Record shows you his tightly clenched fist. Don't fret, I won't let you down. You know, you don't have to stay. Shard or not, you could just walk away. Stop talking rubbish. Sure, we might not be the best, but we're still Crusaders, Aurilu take you. If we slink away, that's it. The end. Demons will devour all of Avestan. So don't even think about it. Glad to hear it. We'll see this through to the end. Together. Record nods wordlessly. Well, since we are in this for the long haul, perhaps we should get to know each other better. Mind if I ask some questions? Not sure what there is to tell, but all right. Ask away. Well, where are you from? I'm from a quarry myself. Right here, from Canabris. I never met my father. My mother was a drunkard, so I grew up on the streets. It's a common story. Half the city has one like it. Record turns to spit on the floor, but swallows after noting the tavern keeper's glare. And it would have ended up as usual, on the gallows, or maybe in a ditch with a hole in my side, if I hadn't joined up with the paladins. Right, you're with the Eagle's Watch. But also the Thieflings. How's that work? It's all thanks to Anevia. She's from the streets too, so she knows what it's like. You wouldn't believe what kind of spy network you can build with the impoverished, drunkards, petty crooks, barefoot children, provided you know how to approach them and aren't afraid to get your hands dirty. Of course, that kind of crowd isn't exactly eager to work for paladins. I myself turned my nose up at them for a very long time. I dreamed of a career with the Thieflings. Perhaps I would have risen through the ranks to authority, all so that someone just like me, only younger and bolder, could slit my throat. Anevia pulled me out of that viper's nest and showed me what those do-gooders were fighting against. Cults with sickening rituals, human sacrifices, cannibalism, and all of this in our very own city on the same streets where we were fighting each other over a copper coin. The higher-ups among the thieflings knew about it, and they couldn't care less. Let the city go up in flames, they'll just find a new one. Record shakes his head with an expression of disgust on his face. The thing is, I don't have any other city. That's why I said screw the thieflings and started helping Anevia cleanse the city of that demonic rot. We caught a lot of cultists, but sadly we didn't get them all. You defend Canabras with your life despite how the locals treat you. That's quite commendable. Well, you know, Record grimaces. Yeah, the people here treat tieflings like dung, but it's not as if they treat each other any better. Or outsiders, for that matter. Most mortals are bastards like that. And so what? Should we just leave them as food for the demons? No matter how much of a scumbag the average citizen might be, they're still a far cry from the beasts of the abyss. True enough. So tell me, my friend, it sounds like this war is on its way towards ending. Any plans for what comes after? So, you think we'll live to see victory? Record chuckles. You sure are an optimist. Let's win first and dream later. Fair enough. Thanks. You're welcome. So tell me, if you don't mind me asking, any thoughts on the rest of our motley crew? At the very least, we really are a squad. A combat unit capable of performing tasks and destroying enemies, and not some gaggle of idiots stepping on each other's feet with every step. That's worth something, regardless of what I think of the individual members of the squad. Is that so? I assume you're talking about Sentry? Yeah, he's an irresponsible clown fantasizing about great deeds. Every time he starts babbling about the heroic crusaders, I have to fight the urge to stuff his hat in his mouth. Record sighs. Alright, I'll give him some credit. He's not bad in a fight. Let him cast his spells. Just keep him as far as possible from any decision-making. Agreed. What about Penta? What do you make of her? She's good. Clear head, stands her ground in a fight. It's just a shame she doesn't know how to hold her tongue. Trying to be clever for no reason. Telling her sarcastic jokes as if to say, the lot of you are morons, I'm the only smart one. But, you know, even that is less annoying than Sentry's constant yapping. And what about me? Rock solid or taken for granted? If we hadn't met in that theater, I think we'd still be there, decorating the walls with our entrails. After everything we've been through. Let's put it this way. I'm not much a believer in friendship and that kind of sappy nonsense, but I've never had a more reliable companion than you. Well, I'm glad to hear it. You're a good kid, Record. Just try not to crack under all that pressure. We'll get through this. Uh-huh. But let's keep this between us. Don't go telling the others what I said about them. Of course. Though I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. The shard. You feel it too, don't you? This filth hasn't just settled in inside us, it's slowly poisoning us, corrupting us, trying to control us so we become like that masked freak. Record shudders with disgust. I pray that we don't, but I fear that sooner or later, one of us will break. Well, let's hope not. But if it does, we'll do what we have to. Ready your things. It's almost time to head out. I'll be nearby. Yeah, as far as shards go, we've already got 3 spread out over 4 characters. We'll try to keep it even, but it does seem like, ultimately, someone will end up with more. Running a bit long, but let's chat up Sentry. Get this all off our plate. Hello! Sentry clutches a steaming cup of mulled wine with both hands. What an amazing thing mulled wine is. It warms you up inside and out. What a pity we don't have this on our travels. Well, that's probably for the best. Good to keep a clear head when you're out in the field. Speaking of which, we're getting ready to leave. Any thoughts on our journeys so far? In all honesty, never in my life have I been so afraid. I used to think that after all my travels, scrapes, and adventures, nothing could scare me. I thought myself fearless, as if I could overcome anything. And it turns out that I just hadn't ever seen anything truly scary. Shivering as if from a sudden gust of icy wind, Sentry holds his frost-cracked hands closer to the fireplace. Before, it was really just strolls and jaunts. Besides, there wasn't really anything at stake. Well, some curiosity, a handful or so of treasure, and just one life. My own. At worst, I risked breaking my neck, you see? And now, if we fail, a wicked demon is going to come crawling out of the abyss, and who knows what havoc it will wreak. The gnome sighs. Faced with this massive responsibility, I feel horribly small. Well, chin up. A noble spirit embiggens the smallest man. But I'd be happy to talk if it helps put you at ease. Truly, we should have done this long ago. We faced so much together and yet know nothing about each other. Well, you start. What would you like me to tell you about? Start with the basics. Where are you from? From the Alabastrine Peaks. Now, I already know what you're going to say. Hold on, Sentry. How can that be? Those are awfully sheer mountains, far, far up north. Surely nobody lives there. The gnome smiles proudly. And you'd be right. Nobody does. And yet I really was born there. I swear it on the ripped tent cloth I was swaddled in. My parents were real romantics. They decided to have their honeymoon at the crown of the world and dreamed of making it to the North Pole. But they only got as far as the Alabastrine Peaks. Then I was born, and they had to turn back. After that, well, we wandered together here and there, from Irisen to Katapesh, until I grew up. Then I started traveling alone. All in all, you could say that adventuring is in my blood. I haven't heard from them in a long time. I hope they ended up achieving their dream and making it to the pole. Yeah, me too. So how about you? Anywhere you've particularly enjoyed exploring? With my parents, why, all over the place. And once I started venturing out on my own, I mainly wandered up and around the mountains in northern Avestan. The Kodar Ridge, the realm of the Mammoth Lords. It was all practice so that I could one day set out to the crown of the world, to the Alabastrine Peaks, and further to the pole. I haven't quite got up to that part yet. If I make it out of this mess alive, I'm absolutely heading there as soon as I can. But what are some mountains compared to the abyss itself? Yeah, about that, I've been wondering. Could you use magic before you found that first shard? This whole thing started with you. It does seem like it might be an important detail. Yes, I've had it since I was a child. My parents used to tell me about how they had taken shelter from a storm when I was born. In gigantic ruins covered with bas reliefs. Maybe that's where my gift comes from? As far as I know, I'm the only spellcaster in the family. I wish I could see those ruins for myself, even just a glimpse. It's a shame my parents didn't think to make a few sketches or rubbings of all those bas reliefs. What if I looked at them and suddenly understood something very, very important? About me, about the whole world, about the whole universe.
Well, let's not go crazy. Sometimes knowing too much can be just as much a burden as knowing too little. Balance in all things. And thank you, Sentry. You know, I don't think the rest of the party gives you enough credit.
You're very welcome.
And speaking of the others, any thoughts you'd like to share there?
I think... Wouldn't it have been wonderful if we'd met in a more peaceful time? One with no demons, invasions, ancient horrors? We could have gone on a trip. It doesn't matter where or how. A journey up the mountains or a river cruise in a boat. Anywhere is perfect with friends. Even if some of those friends are always grumbling.
Record's not that bad.
He's a gruff one, never satisfied, always grumbling at everyone. But I can see that deep down he's actually noble and kind-hearted. A true crusader. More so than some of the knights I've met. It's just that life has been cruel to him. So he defends himself as best he can.
Yeah. And what about Penta? What do you make of her?
It's rare to meet a pro like her. However many mountains I've climbed, I'll always be an amateur next to her.
Sentry closes his fist.
And how dare those bandits from the Technic League treat her so awfully? Oh, if only I had met them. Someone would definitely have had a bad day.
I mean, yeah, that does seem likely, but I don't think it would have been them. You were like level 3 when we first met. And how about me? Anything you'd like to share?
I think that I was awfully lucky to meet you.
Sentry gives you a wide smile.
With a friend like you, even the abyss doesn't scare me. Together, we'll beat anyone. I know it.
That's a good attitude to have. I hope you're right. Thanks again.
I have no secrets.
In that case, I suppose I should really ask about the shards. How are you holding up?
Those things are nasty, vile, and wretched, as you yourself know. I'm ashamed to remember how happy I was to have this power at first. Who could have guessed it would be such a curse? I can't wait to be rid of them.
Yeah, you and me both. All right, finish up your wine. It's just about time for us to head back out.
Yes, it's time to hit the road. Wait for us, O wonderful tavern. May your cellars always brim with cacao and wine.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm definitely more a hot chocolate guy than one for mulled wine. And you know, I've got to say, although this episode did end up being a lot talkier than I was expecting, I'm actually kind of grateful it was, because it does provide some very valuable context and insight, both about the adventure we're on, as well as the characters who have joined us on it. Hold down the fort, Sir Brown. We'll tag you back in for the next run. Which I suppose means Kanos and Gaia will be sitting out the next round. And then, I'm not sure about whatever comes after that. I'm actually not sure how many dungeons there are ultimately in this particular DLC.
We had the giants. We have the wizard's lair over here, the one that goes to a shoreline. But then we also have at least 2 more blocked off alcoves, plus the icy wall itself. So that actually... yeah, that would actually imply that we've got at least 4 more. 3 portals, plus whatever's behind the wall. If we assume 1 shard in each portal, that's 3 more shards, which does imply a grand total of 6 spread over 4 characters. So yeah, a couple of our guys will have to double up because, you know, for whatever reason, the non-story characters can't claim one, otherwise we'd be fine. But, you know, that's just the plot. Otherwise, you'd theoretically be able to make a bunch of extra new characters and offload all the shards to them. For what does seem pretty likely to end up being a stereotypical sacrifice ending. That said, we are pushing the hour mark, so we really do need to call it. And as I said, not a lot of action in this one, but I did very much enjoy it. It definitely got me invested back in the story after some of the, you know, the unexpected silliness last time out. That aside, with all the chatter out of the way, we now stand poised on the cusp of yon portal. So violence is pretty much a sure thing. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Miri V23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.